Hi guys, welcome. And who dat? I'm Joe. And tonight we are doing another 2024 NFL draft for our beloved Bless You Boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints. My boys. So in this draft, we're doing trades, and I decided to go all out. I'm going to trade Marshawn Lattimore and Michael Thomas before the draft starts. We're going to eat the salary cap hit. We were going to cut Michael Thomas anyway. I believe we have some sort of post-June 1st release worked into his contract or something. I'm going crazy here. I took any player that I think we could draft, we could trade in this draft, and decided Thomas, Lattimore for sure, Thomas not too sure. Now, I don't want to lose Lattimore. He's the best player on the team. But when you don't have your best player on your team for 17 games in the last 2 years and your pass defense is still doing well, then, yeah, I think the writing's on the wall. If you're going to do any sort of rebuild as far as acquiring assets, possibly getting younger, taking cap hits now so you can free up money in the future, whatever you want to look, however you want to look at it. Well, trading these two players is going to hit us in the salary cap, but we've made some room, and we're going to make more room. And so this is the vision for this draft. We trade Lattimore, we trade Thomas, and we're very open to trading down. Now, I know the Saints don't trade down, so this is an issue, and every time I do a mock draft, probably gets ignored because I'm doing these things. And like I said, if I would do a predictive Saints mock draft, it would be frustrating to me. We would end up trading half the picks next year. We would have 5 total players when the draft is over, and we'd be reaching and all kinds of other stuff, grabbing stuff we don't need and stuff like that. Yeah, I just don't feel like being the real Saints when I do a draft. This is fantasy, and I imagine if I make these moves and the board falls a certain way, what would I do? So play along with me if you're a Saints fan and see if you guys like the end result. So before the draft starts, I'm trading Marshawn Lattimore. I had the plan of trading him for a first-round pick, and Arizona and Detroit are 2 teams willing to do this in these simulators. Now, if you want me to try to fashion this closer to reality, well, I don't know what reality really is. We won't know until it happens. And so, like I said, this is an exercise. If the computer simulator doesn't want the trade to go through based on the settings it's at, then, it'll tell me. So the last time I traded Lattimore, it was with Arizona. This year, I'm going to trade him to the Detroit Lions. The Lions are very close to the Super Bowl. They're only a couple of pieces away, and Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn know exactly how good Marshawn Lattimore is, and they're willing to make a trade for him. So first, I'm going to pull up our draft picks. These are the 8 picks that we are allocated with on this site. First round, pick 14. Second round, pick 45. We don't pick again until the 5th round. 5th round, 149. 5th round, 167. 5th round, 169. 5th round, 174. 6th round, 192. 6th round, 200. 8 total picks. 2 of them in the first 4 rounds. That's the issue I have with the Saints' current state of affairs with their draft picks. Only 2 picks in the first 140-something picks, and you're not going to get a good draft out of this. So if you're trying to rebuild and get younger and get cheaper all at the same time, the draft is the way to do it. And if you have 8 picks, some sites give you 9 to start with. If you have that many players that you can pick, well, you're going to get younger and cheaper. But you're not going to get much better. if you're trying to find diamonds in the rough with the majority of your picks in the 5th, 6th, 7th rounds. So that's my issue. I want to acquire late 2nd, 3rd, 4th round picks. The 3rd and 4th round picks is where the meat of this draft is, from the end of the 2nd round to the top of the 4th round. And if you can stockpile on those players in this draft, then not only are you going to get cheaper and younger, but you might actually get pretty good. So that's the picks. And before this even starts, I'm stockpiling. I'm trading 2 players away. And Marshawn Lattimore's the first guy. He's going to the Detroit Lions, and they are 1 player away from the Super Bowl in their mind, and that player's Marshawn Lattimore. They're going to give me their 1st round pick 29 overall. They're going to give me a very late 3rd round pick 92. And I'm also going to get a very late 6th round pick 207. So this is essentially a 2nd round pick, 4th round pick, and 7th round pick. Essentially, it's not that far off. So we get a 1st, a 3rd, and a 6th for Marshawn Lattimore. Detroit's very happy. They have picks in this draft. They're still going to be able to acquire other pieces. But the main thing that they're missing, I think, most of all, is a shutdown cornerback. And now they get their man. And so all of a sudden, these are our draft picks. And now we have 11 picks because we just picked up 3 extra picks. Now we have 2 first-round picks. We have that 2nd from Denver. But now we have a 3rd. And, 4 5ths, 3 6s. All right. Getting pretty close. I like it. Still want a 4th round pick in there somewheres. Would like to have that. I know I'm going to move up and trade some of these pieces. The last draft I did, I only had 1 trade down partner in the 1st round, and it was the Kansas City Chiefs. So I ended up acquiring all of these really low picks. The bottom of the 1st round, bottom of the 2nd round, bottom of the 3rd round, bottom of the 4th round, and I spent a lot of my extra picks trying to improve on those picks. So that's where I got myself in trouble with the first trade down, the only trade down I was offered in my last mock. So I want to stockpile on as many picks as I can. That way I'll have picks to maneuver and still have some late round draft picks, because I do want to end up with 8 to 10 players. In my last mock, I ended up with 8. But at one point, we had 15 picks. So it'd be nice to get 10. So the next guy I'm getting rid of is Michael Thomas. My intention was, in reality, what do I think? Michael Thomas for a 6th round pick. Now, the reason why I'm trading him is because we're going to cut him anyway, and we're going to pay the dead money anyway. Might as well get a draft pick out of it. That's the way I look at it. I would trade Marshawn Lattimore for a 2 can dine coupon at a cheap restaurant than for nothing, than just to cut him, pay all that money, and get nothing. So I'm in the market to trade Michael Thomas, and I expect to get a 6th round pick, but I'm initiating it. I want a 3rd round pick. You always start high. You always go to the negotiating table way on your side so you can actually have a negotiation. And some, politicians can learn about that. So I'm going into the table wanting a 3rd round pick. I end up with 5 interested teams, and all of them are willing to give me, they're competing against each other, and they all start offering me 5th round picks. And then I have a couple of teams willing to give me a 5th and a 6th. And then Green Bay decides they're going to give me the best deal, which is a very late 4th. And then a pretty late 6th. So I was getting offers for 5th round, 6th round picks. And Green Bay takes the deal. They are going to give me a very late 4th and a very late 6th. So basically a 5 and a 7, but it's not. That happens. Don't know if Green Bay's interested in Michael Thomas or not, but they were. on this site. Now, this is all fantasy. Let's just pretend until reality happens and you're, crying in the corner in the fetal position at night because the Saints once again got crappy draft picks and hardly anybody. So we're eating dead cap money anyway. We're going to go ahead and get some picks. And after this move to get rid of Thomas to Green Bay, we now have 13 draft picks. 2 first, a second, a third. Now we have a fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4 fifths, and 4 sixes. So that's a lot of draft picks. 13 of them, and the draft hadn't even started yet. And yeah, I'm in the market to trade down. So the draft starts, and we're picking at 14. And this time, I actually get some trade down offers when 14 comes. There's one guy on the board I didn't expect, Dallas Turner. Thought he would get picked in the top 10, thought he would definitely get picked before us at 14. Well, Dallas Turner's there, and the Indianapolis Colts pick right after us, and they're probably going to draft Turner, and Seattle picks right after that, and they don't want the Colts grabbing Turner, they want Turner. So Seattle offers to swap first with us so they can skip the Colts and get to their player first. And any player rated that high could be on anybody's board. I'm contemplating taking him because he's never there. And I'm thinking, do we really need a linebacker? That's what I'm thinking. But anyway, Seattle's going to offer me a 4th round pick and a 5th round pick to jump the Colts and get their player of choice. And this is a deal that I can get often by trading just a few spots back. Almost any team behind us will give you a 4th round pick to move up in the 1st round. That's why I don't like to initiate trade downs. I want to see who wants to trade up and then negotiate something from there. And I had a couple of people that wanted to move up, and this is the smallest move I have to make. I drop 2 spots and I pick up a 4th and a 5th. Great. I'm fine with that. I wasn't going to draft Dallas Turner anyway. Now, Talise Puaga was still on the board, and he was a guy I was tempted to grab. And there were 2 cornerbacks on the board that really surprised me. Terrion Arnold and Quinyon Mitchell. They're both still there at 14. So I'm thinking, yeah, man, I'm going to trade back a couple of spots. There's lots of great players. I know there's good offensive tackle depth at the end of the 1st round, beginning of the 2nd round. There's good offensive linemen in the 2nd round. There's good defensive linemen all over the 2nd round. And all of these cornerbacks are lasting. So, I think Latu got picked in the top 10. And then Jared Verse got picked, and then Dallas Turner. So the edge rushers are kind of depleted. But I like the depth here in the draft where we're at. I mean, this is a good move for the Saints. Now we have 15 picks. 2 4th rounders now. And all of those picks underneath. I know I'm going to be trading some of these picks at the bottom to be maneuvering. I'm glad I have it. I'm glad I have all these picks. At one point, we had traded down to the bottom of the 1st round, and the most picks we had was 15 to work with. We've got 15 now, and we're picking at 16. I could easily pick at 16 and be happy with this. But when my pick comes, I get more trade down offers, including one from the Buffalo Bills, who are picking at pick 28. Now, this is another one where if I make the move, I'm going all the way to the bottom of the 1st round again. And I've got plenty of picks, and I'm in a good position. But Buffalo is offering me something that I'm not going to refuse. They're offering me a 2nd round pick, a 3rd round pick, and a 4th round pick. So they can move up 12 spots from pick 28 to pick 16 in the 1st round. And it's an expensive move to make at the bottom of the 1st round. And they're willing to pay me this. A 2nd, a 3rd, and a 4th? Yeah, I'm going to take it. It's a pretty pretty good deal for me. Because at this point, Fuaga did get taken by the Colts. And all those cornerbacks are still on the board. I mean, all 5, 6 of them are still on the board. And all the second round talent. So I take the deal. Buffalo moved up to pick 16 so they could draft Brian Thomas Jr. And, when you're a team that's close to the Super Bowl, the way that Buffalo is and the way that the Lions are, then, yeah, you can trade away draft capital. That's what Buffalo does. I'm glad they did it. Now I have 18 picks, and I'm not trading down anymore out of the first round. I'm picking at pick 28 and at pick 29. Now I've got 2 second-round picks, 3 third-round picks, 3 fourth-round picks, 9 picks in the first 4 rounds. Yeah, I'm at a good spot here. Now I can maneuver around. I don't think I'm trading down anymore. I'm going to be doing some trading up. But first things first, the Saints are going to get on the board and select. So I decide to trade down twice. I do it all the time if I can. And what the heck is left on the board for the Saints? Well, with pick 28 in the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Jordan Morgan out of Arizona. Offensive tackle, 6'4", 312 pounds. I am a fan of Morgan. I think that getting him really late in the first round is a fine pick. I mean, he's a bona fide left tackle. Some people say he needs to kick inside. His arms are a little short, but he plays the left side, comes out of Arizona. I'm fine with this. He's going to work out just fine. We got us a piece. I like having one young piece on the offensive line for sure. Don't know if he's going to start at left tackle. I'm hoping the Saints make a move in free agency and we get at least someone who can start at left tackle. A left guard would be nice too. And so now you have Jordan Morgan. Does he become your starter? Maybe. Depends on how free agency goes. But I'm very happy to have a guy in the trenches in the first round, whether that's offensive line or defensive line. Stoked with Morgan. And we have the very next pick, and we are using it as well. And I'm pretty excited to see this player here. And I'm going to go ahead and grab him. I don't normally do this. But with pick 29, in the first round of the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select wide receiver A.D. Mitchell out of Texas. Great player to have here. I mean, we need a big-bodied guy. He's got a lot of ability. He's got decent speed. And, yeah, we've got us now a replacement for Michael Thomas. Mitchell is 6'4", 196 pounds. I'd like for him to add a few more pounds, but he's very tall. He's tough enough, and he's one of the better-rated wide receivers in the draft. I could have gone multiple ways here. And usually I tend to focus on wide receiver in the later rounds. I never go ahead and just grab one of the top-rated guys. And I decided in this one I would. We're going to mix things up a bit. We've got so many draft picks that I feel like we can take some chances. So the Saints snag Jordan Morgan and A.D. Mitchell. 2 pieces for the offense. And then now the second round is going to start. And this is where I think a really good move is. If I can make a deal to move up in the second round or the third round or the fourth round, and I pick a team that's got a lot of high draft picks in those rounds, and I can work out a deal with that team, that would benefit me the most at this point. Why pick at 45 and 60 when I can make a move and get up into the 30s in the second round? Oh, my baby's sick. So, New England's the perfect spot to focus this. They've got lots of high draft picks and rounds, and I'm trying to improve my picks. And it's going to cost me, it's going to be a little costly, but it's worth it. And this is how the trade is going to go down. New England is going to end up with 4 extra draft picks when it's all said and done. So what's happening is I'm moving up from pick 45 in the second round to pick 34 in the second round. That's an 11-spot jump. Then I'm going to move up from pick 92 in the third round to pick 68 in the third round. That's a 24-point jump. A huge move. And I'm going to move from pick 126 in the fourth round to pick 104 in the fourth round. That's 22 spots. Now, all of that movement, I added up on the draft value board. I wanted to make sure I wasn't shortchanging New England this time. So to move up all those spots, 11 spots in the second round, 24 spots in the third round, 22 spots in the fourth round. This is going to cost me a third-round pick, 2 fifth-round picks, and a 6th-round pick. New England wants to make the move. I'm fine with it. Maybe New England sees the board differently than me. You know, getting that extra third-round pick, it pays for the move in the second round and then some. So in order for them to get the third-round pick, the extra third-round pick, to make the move in the second, they would probably still have to give me a 4th. So I go ahead and just give them my late 4th, and it's a move up there. And I want to move up in the third round too. That's going to, all of that together, it balances out the price of that third round pick, and then I got to throw in 2 fifths and a 6th to make it happen. The total is 10 draft picks that are moved. I'm getting 3. They're getting 7. New England likes having all those extra picks. Fine. I don't mind giving up one of my third-round picks and stuff at the bottom to make these moves. I'm happy. I go from having 18 picks total to now having 14 picks total. But now I'm picking at pick 34 in the second round, pick 60 in the second round, then 68 in the third round. And now I got that really high 4th, 104 to go along with 119 and 129. Still got lots of picks. I've got 14 picks here. So I've drafted 2 players, and that is the move. I love this move because this positions me better in the second round and in the third round and in the fourth round. So pick 34, pick 60. Okay, so I'm looking at 34, and I'm thinking I can still make a move and move up from 60, and I plan on doing that. But I'm taking a player at 34, and this is another area where I usually don't identify it, target it, and then draft it early. But there's a player there that I'm not passing up. With pick 34 in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select cornerback Ennis Rakestraw Jr. out of Missouri. Those cornerbacks lasted so long in the first round that I had a feeling someone was still going to be there at the top of the second. And if it was any of the 6 guys that I have pegged to go in the first round, they're worth taking at the top of the second for sure. That's the way I feel. So we've traded Lattimore, we've traded Thomas, we've drafted a wide receiver. I don't think it was a need to draft a good cornerback early, but the value's here. Does Rakestraw end up being a starter for us? I don't know. Rakestraw could probably play nickel pretty well too. But we've got us a legitimate starting cornerback, and this is interesting for me. I like it. A lot of players there that I really wanted in positions of need that I think are better, stronger than cornerback, outside cornerback. But like I said, I've got all these other moves that I have planned to make with these picks. So the next team I call is the Washington Redskins. They have picked 20 in the second round. I just picked at 34. I want to move up from 60. And yeah, that's going to cost me a third round pick. It's a 20 spot move. That third round pick is pretty good. Top of the third round, 68. And that is, according to the simulator, that's too rich. I'm giving them too much by giving them this high third round pick to make this jump in the second round. I don't really buy into that. I think it works out fine. But I go ahead and get a fourth rounder from them to balance out. Now they are paying a little too much. And so I give them a fifth and a sixth, and it balances out. So essentially, I'm moving up 20 spots in the second round. Washington's moving up from the fourth round to the third round. And Washington's getting a fifth and a sixth to make all this happen. They're getting a nice jump here. 35 spots from the fourth round to the third round. And I'm moving up 20 spots in a higher round, the second round. So it balances out, works out great. I'm stoked because I got up in the second round. So now I'm looking at my picks. I'm about to pick at pick 40 in the second round, but my third round picks are gone. I still have 4 fourth round picks, 2 fifths, 2 sixes. So I'm going to do some sort of combo and get back into the third round. But I'm happy I made this move to move up in the second round because too much good talent at the top of the second round. I don't think any of these guys that I had on my radar were going to be there 20 picks from now. So I'm excited because with pick 40 in the second round of the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Graham Barton out of Duke, offensive lineman. I'm stoked. Jordan Morgan is a tackle. Graham Barton is a guy that played center. He's played left tackle most of his career in college. He projects to be a guard. So now you have Barton, who makes it into the second round, as an option here. Who's better at left tackle, Barton or Morgan? We're going to find out. And which one of them can kick inside? Well, we know Barton can. So my intention is Morgan at left tackle, Barton at left guard. We have a wide receiver. We have a cornerback. I'm not addressing the defensive line yet, and I'm a little nervous, but I'm going to make it a focus. Maybe in the third round, because I get another deal with Washington. Now, I just did a big deal with Washington, and I had sent them a fifth and a sixth, and they also got a third. They moved up from the fourth round to the third round, and that third round pick is 68. Well, they had pick 67, too, in the third round. So I call them and say, hey, I want one of those picks. Give me 67 in the third round. I don't have much to work with there. I don't want to give them 2 of my high fourth round picks. I've got defensive line pegged for those high fourth round picks. I don't want to give them the high ones. I offered them pick 129 instead, and a 6th round pick, and that's not going to cut it. So I decided to do what the Saints usually do, and this is weird, but I decided to trade a 4th round pick next year and my worst 4th round pick this year that I have remaining, pick 129, to get that 3rd round spot. I have to throw in the 6th round pick, 192. But 2 4s and a 6 get me that 3rd round pick back. I don't like trading future picks. It's a 4th rounder. But man, oh man, oh man. Now we have a 3rd round pick, and we still have 3 4th round picks. So trading 1 4th round pick next year. I don't have a 4th next year, but I've got 3 this year. I've got all of these picks, all of these moves. When it's all said and done, I'm going to end up with 8 players in the top 4 rounds. And that's what I'm looking for. That's what's going to make a draft a good draft. Not 7 or 6 or 7 picks in the 5th, 6th, 7th round. No, you need 6 or 8 picks in the top 4 rounds. And now Washington, thanks to Washington, we're going to make this happen. So that move puts me at pick 67 in the 3rd round. I still have 3 really good 4th round picks, and I'm good. I'm good to go for the rest of through the 4th round. Now, at pick 67 in the 3rd round, there are a couple of defensive linemen that I'm interested in, but there's still some depth there at this position. Defensive tackle, bigger edge rushers that might be good against the run. So I do something I didn't expect to do. But there's a player there that I love. I draft him just about every dang time, but I'm doing it again. With pick 67 in the 3rd round of the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Malachi Corley, wide receiver, Western Kentucky. I did it again. We already drafted a wide receiver. He's a big guy. Got him in the 1st round. Shouldn't need to touch wide receiver again. Well, in this new scheme, if you can get special playmakers that can play in special roles, and you have a lot of draft picks where you can do this, go ahead and grab the piece. Corley, to me, is a great piece to have for this team. But when it comes down to basically lining up as a wide receiver, is he that every down wide receiver, outside guy? No. He's a special player. So when you get a guy like Corley, you're getting kind of an X factor / special kind of player, not necessarily an outside wide receiver. I've addressed it twice now. We've got the big boy on the outside, and now we've got the special piece that I hope Clint Kubiak knows how to utilize. I'm excited with the pick, and I realize at this point, 5 draft picks, only 1 defensive player. So yeah, we're going to have to go crash hard on defense. And this, I've done so many mocks. The board falls a different way every time, but there are nuances that remain the same. And come the 4th round, there's lots of players on the defensive line to choose from that I'm excited about. I can go with Marshawn Nealon. In this draft, Darius Robinson is still there at defensive end. And there's plenty of defensive tackles still left on the board. So I've got 2 picks in a row, pick 103 and pick 104 in the 4th round, and I've got a 119 in the 4th. So with pick 103 in the 4th round of the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select defensive end Darius Robinson out of Missouri. I've gotten him in the 1st round in a mock. I've gotten him in the 2nd round in a mock. And this one, I was letting him go. And every other team did. Certain sites haven't elevated him properly yet, I think. He's floating around a 2nd round projection right now. On this site, he falls into the 4th round, and I'm happy to have him because, look, I wanted an edge rusher. I wanted a big guy that could stop the run. I got both of them in this guy. Can't believe he's there. I'm excited. The big body I want on the defensive line to stop the run and rush the passer. He can rush the passer. And the very next pick, I'm going to double dip at defensive line, and I'm going to go with one of my favorite players. With pick 104 in the 4th round of the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Dwayne Carter out of Duke, defensive tackle. He's a 3-tech type, but we've got pieces now. I'm really wanting a big body in the middle to help stop the run. Darius Robinson is a little big on the outside. He can kick in the middle and give you some pass rush. But to me, Dwayne Carter is too good of a player to pass up. Earlier in mocks, I was able to get him in the 5th round, 6th round. I knew that wasn't going to last forever. He's in the 4th round now. The combine's coming up this week, so he may go up. He may go even higher after that. But I double dip at defensive line, 2 picks in a row. Dwayne Carter and Robinson on the defensive end. Darius and Dwayne. So I'm happy. This works out great for me. Now I feel like I've addressed everything. Twice on the offensive line, twice on the defensive line. And we got us some playmakers. We got us a secondary piece. So now I think I'm going to go a little position specific. I'm going to go and try to get guys to fill different positions of need that we have. If somebody's too good to pass, I'll go ahead and grab them. But with pick 119 in the 4th round, I go ahead and grab this guy because there's only a couple of safeties I really like left. And you know I love this guy. Pick 119, I'm selecting safety Cole Bishop out of Utah. I want the guy in the box that's going to play the tight end. I haven't addressed nickelback in this draft yet. Cole Bishop makes a great piece. He can play anywhere at safety. And I think he's going to make a good player in the slot, in the box, around the line of scrimmage. And so you don't necessarily get a nickelback, but you get a guy that can cover a tight end and cover bigger wide receivers. And yeah, I'm happy. So close to a slot, but definitely a safety. We're looking for a younger piece. I love the move. In love with Cole Bishop. So we've got 2 5th-round picks and a 6th-round pick left. The 5th-round pick is coming. I'm at pick 149, and there's a player that I have identified that I really want. He is a nickelback, and I've got 3 guys that I'm focusing on at nickelback, and I watched 2 of them go just like that. So I'm trying to negotiate to move up in the 5th round so I can get that one nickelback that I really want. And I get a player with the Tennessee Titans. They have pick 141. My player's on the board. I offer to trade them 149 for 144. The thing is, I don't want to give up that other 5th-round pick or my 6th-round pick. I've got plans for them too. I go ahead and trade Tennessee a 6th-round pick from next year. And that's a little rich, so they're going to give me a 7th-round pick this year as compensation to make this deal complete. I could have easily given them the 6th-round pick I have this year and not given them the 6th round next year. I could have done that instead. Still got their 7th. But I'm going ahead and trading the 6th round next year. So now I've traded away the 4th round pick and the 6th round pick next year. But my board falls as such where I can get this player I've targeted. I still have a 5th round pick, a 6th round pick, and a 7th round pick after that. And we're going to end up with 12 total players. So you got 5 draft picks next year, but you're getting 12 picks this year. And that player is there. I'm so excited. With pick 141 in the 5th round of the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Ben Sinnott, tight end out of Kansas State. Okay. So I was really focused on the nickelback. But Ben Sinnott and the tight end from Florida State, Jaheim Bell, were both still on the board. And I thought, man, I've got Ugo Amadi playing nickel. I've got Cole Bishop as a box guy. I just drafted Ennis Rakestraw. He may not start on the outside. Adebo and Taylor can be my outside guys. I'm re-signing Yadam, so I got depth at the outside. Ennis Rakestraw was a luxury pick. Let him play nickelback. I'm not going to go ahead and grab a nickelback with this guy I had targeted when I've got this tight end here. And I go with Ben Sinnott. I go with the more complete tight end. I go with the guy who's better at run blocking. Might not be as good in routes, but is better at run blocking. He's got great hands. He's going to be a fine tight end. And it shocked me a little. When I had Jaheim Bell on the board and the perfect nickelback, I made up my mind to go with Sanat. And what swayed me is not so much a preference that I'm going to stick with forever. It's that I got a special little X Factor piece in Malachi Corley earlier. And I feel like if I get a tight end like Bell, he's going to be more of an X Factor piece too. And I would really rather have someone who can assuredly block at tight end. I've got Juwan Johnson. I've got Taysom Hill. And those guys, are just okay at blocking. So I went ahead and grabbed a complete tight end in Sanat. And if I wouldn't have drafted Corley, I'd have probably gone Jaheim Bell here. That's my train of thought. And I've got to wait 10 picks. But if that nickelback is still there, I'll take him. And sure as shooting, he is there with pick 151 in the 5th round of the 2024 NFL Draft. The New Orleans Saints select Jerry Jones, cornerback out of Florida State. Jerry Jones is 6 foot, 192 pounds. I think he looks great at a nickel. And the reason why he lasts this long is people have issues with him playing on the outside and whatever. Maybe there's some problems. There's some issues. I mean, he's got weird movement skills. And so sometimes I feel like if he gets his hips turned a certain way, then he won't be able, to get to that short area quick enough. But he's instinctive. And I don't think he's going to have issues with his movement if he gets coached up. When I see him, he seems to play the ball really well. And this is a nice piece. He's got good size. Played on the outside with Florida State, so we're gonna have us another cornerback. I'm excited. Ben Sinnott is 6'4", 254 pounds at tight end, so he's a big guy, the perfect size for a tight end. We don't have that guy on our team right now. Morrow is, not so athletically gifted and doesn't have the measurables, so we got us a good, perfect size tight end here with Sanat. Not a receiving tight end like Johnson and a guy that's getting older and, pretty slow, Moreau. Taysom Hill, who I don't want to line up as just a straight inline blocking tight end. I want him to be an X factor and line up all over the place. So we have us a good, solid tight end. All right. Wow, man. Got 2 picks left, and I've addressed just about everything. The only thing I haven't addressed is running back, linebacker. So 6th round pick comes at 203, and with the 203rd pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select running back Michael Wiley out of Arizona, 5'10", 215 pounds, the exact same size as Alvin Kamara. I love the fact that he plays for Arizona, and I think he's going to fit in our scheme good. Only issue I have with him, he's a great receiver, good running skills, can get outside. The only issue I have with him, he needs to get a little better at pass blocking. He's a 6th round pick, so we're going to go ahead and train him to be a good pass blocker. I like Wiley. He seems to me like the exact size as Kamara, that he can potentially be a 3rd down back for us, a receiving back for us, and he gets better at pass blocking, then he can definitely see the field more. All right, we got one more pick left. Pick 225 in the 7th round, and I'm excited about getting an interior player on the defensive line that's a good run stopper, because Dwayne Carter is a pass rusher. So with pick 225 in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select defensive tackle Marcus Harris out of Auburn. 6'2", 284. So he's on the light side for a run stopper, but that's his forte. He's one of the highest rated run blockers in the draft. From my investigation, he might be the highest rated run stopper. And at 284, that's pretty good. So maybe he doesn't have the movement skills that we need to be an effective pass rusher. He's got good size. He's short and 284, so he can get low. I think we can train him up and be a better pass rusher from the middle. But he's not some big, clunky 330-pound guy that has to get off the field. He's a good size, but what I love about him is his ability to play the run. His tackling isn't 100%, but he plays the run very well. And, if you can make a move to stop a ball carrier from inside the defensive line, that's going to go a long way for this team, especially when running quarterbacks try to take off and stuff like that. The running game was a big issue for our defense last year. The biggest issue for our defense last year, and I want to stop that. So that's it, guys. The latest mock draft. We trade Lattimore, we trade Thomas, we trade down twice in the first round. And then after that, we trade up with New England, we trade up twice with Washington, and we trade up with Tennessee. All in all, we end up with 12 players, and interesting draft for me. I'm excited. I'm used to getting a big defensive lineman early in the draft, and I put it off and was able to get some pieces for the defensive line anyway. So we'll look at our defense first. We've got Darius Robinson at defensive end. He's going to be Cam Jordan's future replacement. He's going to stay on the line all 3 downs. He's going to rush the passer better than what we've got on the defensive line from the edge right now. He's big enough to play against the run. I love this piece. If you get a faster edge rusher, if you have one of those on your team, you can kick Robinson inside on 3rd down, but he's a very good pass rusher. We're good to go at edge rusher. We're good to go at defensive end with Darius Robinson. Dwayne Carter, he's a 3-tech. He might be better against the run right away than Brian Bresee. We want Brian Bresee to be an every down player. And once you're picking in the 4th round, 5th round, I don't mind getting a lighter guy like Carter. I feel like you're double dipping if you get a 3-tech early. But too good of the value to pass up here. So Carter may end up starting. He may end up that 3-tech on running downs if Bresee doesn't improve. But I go ahead and solidify the defensive line with getting Marcus Harris out of Auburn, a truly very good run stopper. So there's your defensive linemen, Robinson, Carter, and Harris. I'm happy. Offensive line, your first overall pick with Jordan Morgan at 28 is going to play tackle, and Graham Barton's going to play guard. Graham Barton has played left tackle. He's played left guard. He's played center. And, I don't know if Morgan can kick to the right side or not. But Barton's so versatile, I wouldn't put it past him to be able to do it. So let's say Ramczyk can't go for a game at right tackle. Maybe Barton can kick out there and play right tackle. I know James Hurst can. And we can go ahead and re-sign him and keep Graham Barton at left guard. But the future for the Saints would be Jordan Morgan at left tackle, Graham Barton at left guard. And hopefully you've signed somebody in free agency because, I don't think Ramczyk's going to be around forever. But I didn't triple dip at offensive line like I normally do. I triple dipped at defensive line, but not offensive line. I went ahead and got 2 wide receivers instead with A.D. Mitchell out of Texas, who's going to be that X-wide receiver and who's going to be on the field with Chris Olave all the time. Mitchell's a decent run blocker. So you've got that aspect of the game covered, and you need good run blockers at wide receiver for this Shanahan/Kubiak system to work. So I'm glad I got Mitchell early. And then later on, Malachi Corley. Definitely not a good run blocker. He's an X factor piece. If Rashid Shaheed can't do everything that Deebo Samuel did with San Francisco, well, then you got Malachi Corley here to pick up the slack. I like having multiple pieces because if you're going to run this weird offense with a tight end and a fullback that stays on the field all the time, that runs the ball, that receives and does all these things and goes in motion and splits out, you're going to need special players. And we've got a few already with Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara. You hope with Juwan Johnson as well. And now I think you've got another interesting piece in Malachi Corley. Another piece in the secondary besides Ennis Rakestraw is Cole Bishop. I wanted to get a safety for youth. You got 12 draft picks. That's a position you need to get just to have youth. And we got one of my favorites in Bishop. Now we got a guy that can cover the tight end. And Tyrann Mathieu has lost a step as far as speed goes, but the man played just about every single play last year. He seems like he's going to be our starting safety again this year. And I think we're going to see a little more deterioration in his speed and movement and stuff like that. I think he's going to become more and more limited as he's getting older with every day on the field. But you've got a nice piece now. You've got Jordan Howden at safety, and now you've got Cole Bishop. So 2 young safeties. You don't worry so much about safety anymore. The backup running back in Wiley, we hope we get something special out of him. And we've got the nickelback in Jerron Jones and the tight end in Ben Sanat. A pretty solid draft overall, I must say. All of those crazy trades and draft moving down and stuff like that, all of that, I know it seems unrealistic. But this is fantasy to me, and if you're a Saints fan like I am, I hope you can enjoy the fantasy. I mean, this might not ever happen in reality, but it happened right here, right now. We did it. Don't know if it would happen in reality, but hey, if I was a GM, I'd be trying to make moves like this, okay? You're going to eat some dead money. Probably overall, you're going to end up eating $15, $20 million, getting rid of Lattimore and Thomas, but, you know, I think we're going to restructure 6, 7 more guys when it's all said and done. I think we're going to have money on top of, being under the salary cap. We're going to have $20 million to play with. After these moves, we're still going to have $20 million to play with. You're only going to need about $10 million to sign your rookies, and then hopefully you can negotiate, make some more moves. That's all the Saints front office offers me, is the ability to move money around so you can make things happen. We're $75 million over the cap, and the next thing you know, we're trying to sign Deshaun Watson to a $200 million contract. We end up getting Derek Carr at a $150 million contract. So I know the Saints can make the money moves. This might be the last mock I do trading Lattimore or any other player. So subscribe to Rosenfield 10 if you enjoy these mocks. I will be doing several more. I'm going to do another one after the Combine. I will be doing some with trades. I'll try to make some of them a little more realistic as we go through. But right now, fantasy just feels too good for me. I mean, look at that class. That's a great class. 3 pieces on the defensive line, 2 pieces on the offensive line, a bona fide big wide receiver, another wide receiver who can be an X factor. You got 2 secondary players, a tight end, a running back. Not bad. The only thing we're missing is a linebacker. And we got lots of linebackers on this team. So hopefully somebody steps it up. All right, there you go. Subscribe to Rosenfield 10. I'm Joe. You can follow me on Twitter at Rosenfield 10. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Who dat?